Silver took quite a pounding today, but do not lose heart. I think this is just temporary. I'll explain why in this video as we explore. Most every other precious metal did well today except for platinum. It was flat. But silver took a big hit today. In fact, it got down to $47.27 earlier in the day. It's recovered some of its losses. But we're going to get into what's going on there. But first, I want to thank Summit Metals for sponsoring the channel. Check them out next time you're in the market for gold or silver or platinum. They experience a great customer service. The link is in the description below. So the gold and silver indeed had a move today. In fact, gold was within $8.10 of $4,000 an ounce. In the futures price, it did hit there for the first time ever. But silver is down right now 78 cents, down 1.6% on the day to $47.79. Now, what's happening? Well, I'm going to be referencing a piece here from FX Street that goes in a little bit of detail, but we're going to talk about something else that may even be a better example as to why silver fell today. And this consolidation move comes as the U.S. dollar has regained traction, capping the metal's bullish momentum. And that is something, too. We see the dollar index is indeed riding up a little bit today. It's up 0.52%. But gold doesn't care. It just keeps going up. But silver seems to be the one metal that's affected by it. The dollar benefits from political instability in France and Japan, which is weighing on the euro and the Japanese yen. In France, the surprise resignation of Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu after less than a month in office has revived concerns over the country's fragile fiscal position. In Japan, Sanae Takeshi's victory in the ruling Liberal Democratic Party leadership race raises expectations of a return to Abenomics policy of heavily fiscal spending and ultra-loose monetary stimulus, pressuring the JPY. And that's the yen in Japan. The renewed U.S. dollar strength is curbing appetite for precious metals, but only silver in this case, already trading in overbought territory after several weeks of gains. Nevertheless, traders remain confident that the U.S. Federal Reserve will ease monetary policy before the year's end, a factor that continues to underpin safe haven assets such as silver. And silver is likely to remain influenced by gold, its big brother. According to a note from Commerce Bank, we are raising our forecast to $49 per ounce by the end of this year and to $50 per ounce by the end of next year, analysts believe. The combination of a more accommodative Fed stance and persistent geopolitical uncertainty keeps the medium-term bias tilted to the upside. Well, that is a very conservative estimate in my view. And some people were criticizing me for having conservative forecast for silver, but nonetheless, that's where Commerce Bank is. And very different, by the way, than what UBS Bank was they were more bullish than I was. In the near term, investors are focused on speeches by several Fed officials this week, including Michelle Bowman and Raphael Bostic, which could offer new clues on the timing of future rate cuts. And most everybody agrees we're going to do 2 more quarter-point cuts, but any confirmation of upcoming policy easing could revive demand for silver and push it back towards the all-time high. Well, they show here of $49.80, but technically it did get up to $49.95 in 1980. That was the all-time high, according to some research done by a member of this community. Now, the price of silver retreats here today, but the move does not yet call the uptrend into question, while the dollar remains within an accelerated bullish channel since mid-September, with silver up from $41.20. Prospects of a new test of the record of $49.80 therefore remain intact at this stage. But this bullish trend also looks increasingly stretched, underlined by the daily relative strength index in overbought territory since September 19th, and the monthly RSI being overbought as well. Any further immediate bullish impetus could therefore struggle to extend beyond the 49.80 high. Now, the downside aspect of this shows that a pullback below the uptrend channel, currently around $47.20, could encourage a more extensive correction and bring into view the uptrend line, formerly resistance in the monthly, which could support around $41 an ounce. So we'll see if that plays out. But there's something I think bigger at play, as I referenced in part, in whole, in this morning's video about the upending of the silver market. And I think that could still happen, because I even predicted in that video that we could see silver fall today, and it did happen. And that's because of what was posted late last night and updated today by the same source that I quoted in the previous video, from Profits Plus ID. The SLV has created 5 million shares yesterday, and that borrowing fee pulled back then because of that, which essentially means that's there to help put it in place and ease some of the stress on the market. And so with the borrowing fee that was over 9%, or trading up there in that range, it fell this morning to 6.3%. But the thing is that there was still literally no shares available to borrow from that. So now I think that's part of the reason why we've recaptured some of the losses to the upside. So with a low of $47.27 and now at $47.81, I think that's in part in direct relation to this news. I think to some extent we're seeing some of that play out. Not just near profit taking, not just buying opportunity, but fear buying on the exchanges with the SLV. So now the borrowing fee has increased now to 9.82%, pretty much back where it was before, with 0 shares available to borrow. And so that is a pretty shocking development there, which means we're right back where we were, which means that should lead us into bullish territory and this continued squeeze on the markets, which means that likely we'll probably see the prices consolidate to the upside and maybe recapture all the losses, at least for a while, as we start to see resistance grow for the that $50 mark. There's going to be strong resistance. Even the $49 range is going to be tough, I think, for us. But I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to get there soon. I believe we could see it by the end of the week, at least touch $49. We'll see how that plays out. But remember, I'm just shooting, I'm just speculating, but it's based off of information like this and other data that we're looking at. And I think at this point, all hands are on deck with regards to how silver should be viewed, how it should be analyzed in terms of the relative strength index, other technical factors, the technical analysis and other situations, geopolitics. Everything is into play at this point, I think, in regards to what's going on, including, by the way, as I mentioned in my video this morning, about Silver Eagles. Silver Eagles, monster boxes, falling short and selling out. And maybe we're starting to see premiums rise for physical silver bullion. And that is something we're going to continue probably likely to see, as especially with dips like this. This is a good time to buy in a dip. And more people come in and they want to capture it. They want to get in on the action. And I think that's kind of what we might be seeing here. Think about it. Silver is the only metal that fell today. Gold is keeping on trucking on. By the way, that disparity between gold going down, silver going up, has now raised the gold to silver ratio to 83.47. That's right. So if you enjoy the content that I do here, bring you the latest news and analysis, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Trying to grow the channel here. Appreciate all of you who are already subscribed. And also press the notifications bell so that you can be apprised of the latest video that makes its way across your device. So with that being said, I want to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to be here and to watch this video as we account what's going on. It's been an exciting time in the precious metal markets. It sure has, and I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. There's always something to talk about with what's going on in the markets and what's going on with silver. But one thing I always like to remind myself and you, the viewer, is there's more to silver than just its price. That's right. We measure it based off of the amount of these that we have in our possession. But these are losing value. It's this that maintains its value over the long course of time. That's where we should set our hearts. And that's where we should set our minds. That's a paradigm shift of thinking. So with that being said, a multitude of gratitude to you all. I want to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.